Good afternoon. We welcome everyone this afternoon on joining us both online or represented through proxy for the 2022 Special Stockholders Meeting of Leisure and Resorts World Corporation. I'm Christine Gabrieles from Investor Relations, your MC for this meeting. We will now ask you to please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the national anthem.
Let us bow our heads. Our Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin our special stockholders meeting. Help us to engage in a meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of this community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect all our stakeholders, our shareholders, board of directors, business partners, the management, our purveyors, and all the employees of LRWC. As we continue to face the threats and effects of the coronavirus, remind us that all that we do here today, all that we achieve, is for the greater glory of you and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Prior to the meeting agenda, these are a few house rules regarding the voting procedures for everyone's reference. Number 1, stockholders who registered under the voting in absentia or who signified by email that they will be participating by remote communication may email questions or comments at investorrelations@lrwc.com.ph. Number 2, for proper order, the moderator will read out questions during the Q&A session scheduled at the end of the meeting. Questions that were not taken up during the meeting may be directed to our IR email at investorrelations@lrwc.com.ph. Number 3, the voting results and proposed resolutions will be shown for each agenda item. Number 4, votes cast through proxies and received via email as of 12 p.m. on January 6, 2022 will be shown for each relevant agenda item. Number 5, the final results of the votes cast will be reflected in the minutes of this meeting, which will be posted on the company's website tomorrow, January 8, 2022. The proceedings for this afternoon's SSM will be recorded. Should our viewers and attendees encounter any technical problems or lags during the meeting, we apologize, but we will not be able to offer assistance. We will need to continue on with the meeting. Nevertheless, this is being recorded and a copy will be uploaded on our website for your reference. Our chairman, Mr. Eusebio Tanco, will now start the meeting proper. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dear valued shareholders, we hope you all have a safe and meaningful holiday celebrations with your family and loved ones. The past 2 years has been challenging for everybody, especially for our company. With the pandemic, we have a lot of challenges. We have to face the on and off, start and stop operations of the company because of the imposition made by the government to arrest the spread of the coronavirus. Despite all these challenges, the company succeeded and fared well despite all these challenges. But primarily, the company reinforces its strong commitment to a safe and healthy working environment. The welfare of our people, stakeholders, and customers are always our top priority. We're happy to reopen some of our branches and welcome our guests by our healthy and fully vaccinated employees. We have launched different initiatives in our branches across our portfolio to mitigate the impact of the community quarantine and provided services needed to address this healthcare crisis. Last year, your company made a plan to continue to make the operation of the company more robust and be more responsive to the need of the time. So despite the fact that we started the year with a new virus, with a higher inflation, this year we're planning to push through with the plans that the company has set up last year. So we will start the year strong by infusing more capital into the corporation. We will start by raising more funds, infusing more funds into the corporation, starting with the private placement. We believe that the virus will somehow be behind us pretty soon. So the objective this afternoon is to be able to raise more funds to develop an online platform which our president later on will expound. One is to develop an online platform moving towards a new normal. Two, to increase, augment the working capital of the corporation. And three, to pay down our debt. So with this, can we call the meeting to order? For the orderly and efficient conduct of the meeting, any questions in connection with any matters to be discussed herein that were not sent to our email prior to this meeting will be entertained after the meeting is adjourned. In order for us to properly address your questions, please send the same through email at investorsrelation@lrwc.com.ph, and our investor relations team will get back to you regarding your concern. Now, may I call our acting corporate secretary, Attorney Tin Margaret de los Reyes, to certify the sending out of the notices for this special stockholders meeting, and if a quorum exists to conduct this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I certify that the notice and agenda for the 2022 special stockholders meeting was disclosed in the Philippine Stock Exchange's EDGE submission system and uploaded in the company's website on November 22, 2021. The notice and agenda for the meeting were also published in newspapers of general circulation, specifically in Business Mirror and Business World, both in print and online, on December 6 and 7, 2021. The notice and agenda were further sent to stockholders by mail and messengerial services to all shareholders as of record date at their respective addresses of record. The notices were sent out at least 21 days prior to the special shareholders meeting in accordance with the requirements of the revised corporation code and the applicable SEC regulations at that time. Through the notice, the stockholders were informed that the company will not be conducting a physical special stockholders meeting, and instead, the 2022 special stockholders meeting will be streamed live via Zoom. The stockholders have also been notified that they can cast their votes remotely, through proxy, or in absentia by sending their votes via email to investorrelations@lrwc.com.ph on or before 12 p.m. of January 6, 2022. For the stockholders who cannot attend the meeting, they were given until January 6, 2022 to submit their respective proxies. In view of the pandemic, the company waived the submission of hard copies of their proxies and other supporting documents. Votes cast through proxies and received via email as of 12 noon of January 6, 2022 will be flashed on the screen for each agenda. The final tabulation of votes will be reflected in the minutes of the 2022 special shareholders meeting. Mr. Chairman, I certify that we have a quorum to conduct this meeting. As of 2 p.m. today, January 7, 2022, 10 stockholders are participating remotely or in absentia, and 11 stockholders are represented in proxy for a total of 1,948,463,773 shares. These shares constitute 79.72%, or more than two-thirds of 2,444,106,666 outstanding shares of the company entitled to vote. These amounts have been verified and confirmed by the representatives of STSI, our stock and transfer agent, who are present with us today.
Thank you, Madam Corporate Secretary. Now, let's move to the next item in the agenda. The first item of business in this agenda is the approval of the issuance of shares through private placement. On November 22, 2021, the Board of Directors approved the issuance of up to 1,555,893,334 common shares from the unissued capital stock through a private placement at the price based on the premium over the volume weighted average closing price of the shares 30 days prior to the special stockholders meeting in accordance with the existing PSE rules and regulations. The proceeds of the private placement are intended to be used to develop the new online project, which includes acquiring new licenses to address and refinance some of the company existing obligations, and the purpose of pursuing corporate expansion, as well as exploring avenues for growth and synergy. Furthermore, we seek the approval to grant the authority to the Board of Directors to implement the private placements, including but not limited to the determination of the issue price and the determination of the subscriber or subscribers to whom the shares will be issued, provided that the issue price of the shares shall be based on the premium over the volume-weighted average closing price of the shares 30 days prior to the special stockholders meeting. May I now call Mr. Andy Chu, our newly appointed president, to further elaborate on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's such an honor to see everyone here, and I would like to take the opportunity to greet everyone a prosperous and a fruitful new year. As one of the business being hardly hit by the pandemic, our company is always finding new ways to improve and suppress all the challenges. As part of our effort, we are conducting these private placements to raise funds to develop our online platform, bringing gaming experience to a new level. Furthermore, as we strive to bring better product to our clients, part of the funds will be used for operational and capital expenses. Additionally, we aim to lower down our company debts by paying off some of our loans. May I now turn the floor back to the chairman?
Thank you, Andy. Madam Secretary, do we have the proposed resolution on this item and voting results?
Mr. Chairman, the adoption of the resolution is on the screen. The resolution reads, resolved, as it is hereby resolved, that the company approves the issuance of 1,555,893,334 common shares through private placement at a price based on a premium over the volume-weighted average closing price of the shares of the company 30 days prior to the special stockholders meeting or on December 8, 2021. Resolved further that the board of directors be authorized to implement the said private placement, including but not limited to the determination of the issue price and the determination of the subscriber or subscribers to whom the shares will be issued. We are proposing the approval of the issuance of shares through the private placement. On the votes cast, 100% of the shares represented in this meeting voted in favor of the resolution. This complies with the legal requirement of at least 2/3 vote from the outstanding capital stock of the company. The resolution is therefore approved.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thus, the motion is carried. Let us now proceed to the next item in the agenda. The next item in the agenda is the amendment of the 7th article of the company's Articles of Incorporation on the reclassification of 1 billion preferred shares into common shares. The board approved on the 22nd of November 2021 the 7th article of the company's Articles of Incorporation to be amended to reflect the reclassification of 1 billion preferred shares into common shares. I would like to call on Andy again, our president, to further expound on this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We are proposing the amendment to reclassify the preferred shares to common shares so that should there a need in the future for further funds, it would be faster for us to make the necessary company actions.
Thank you, Andy. Madam Secretary, do we have the proposed resolution on this item and voting results?
Mr. Chairman, the adoption of the resolution is on the screen. The resolution reads as follows. Resolved, as it is hereby resolved, that the company approves the reclassification of 1 billion preferred shares into common shares. This will result in a total of 5 billion common shares out of the authorized capital stock. Resolved further, the amendment of the 7th article of the company's Articles of Incorporation to read as follows is hereby approved. From 7th article, that the capital stock of the corporation is 5 billion pesos and said capital stock is divided into 4 billion shares of common stock of the par value of 1 peso each and 1 billion shares of preferred stock with a par value of 1 peso per share. 2. Seventh article, that the capital stock of the corporation is 5 billion pesos and said capital stock is divided into 5 billion shares of common stock of the par value of 1 peso each. We are proposing the approval of the reclassification of 1 billion preferred shares into common shares and the above amendment of the seventh article of the company's articles of incorporation. On the votes cast, 100% of the shares represented in this meeting voted in favor of the resolution. This complies with the legal requirement of at least 2/3 vote from the outstanding capital stock of the company. The resolution is therefore approved.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thus, the motion is carried. Let us now proceed to the next item in the agenda, which is the question and answer section. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to start answering the questions that were submitted on time prior to this meeting. May I call on Ms. Christine Gabrieles from our Investor Relations Department to read out the questions, and our President, Andy, will supply the corresponding answers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for the questions that we have received prior to the meeting, for question number 1, why did LRWC do a private placement versus a rights issue?
Basically, private placement is more beneficial to LRWC because the issue price would be higher than the market price, and the company needs to raise funds in a more expedient manner. The time element involved with a private placement is shorter than a right issues.
Thank you, Mr. President. So for question number 2, what will the funds raised be used for?
As mentioned earlier, the priority will be to develop the new online business and to acquire new licenses and accreditations. Next in line will be to bring down our overall debt level by paying and reducing our long-term loans. The funds will also be used to address the operational and capital requirement of the company.
Thank you, Mr. President. So for the last question that we have received, it is about how does online bingo take the place of a social game? Will it reduce the social component of the game?
Transitioning the traditional bingo to online does not reduce its social component. We welcome everyone to try it, and you will notice that even if it's online, our hosts still interact with the players. There are even checkboxes in the games wherein players can send their messages or can interact either with the host or with the players. Plus, the shortening of the games actually make it faster and more exciting. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Andy. That concludes our question and answer portion. As the chairman mentioned, we will reply directly to the stockholders who sent questions via email. May I now turn over the floor back to the chairman.
Thank you. As mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, please email any questions you may have in connection to any matter discussed in this meeting to investors relations at lrwc.com.ph, and our investor relations team will get back to you regarding your concerns. If there are no more matters to be taken up, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Again, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the management of Leisure and Resort World Corporation, we express our gratitude to all those who participated in this afternoon's meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support, and we hope to see each other again in this year's stockholders meeting. We wish everybody a prosperous new year, and let us always be on top of our game. Thank you.
Double check, huh?